In a moment, I'll wish you a Shavua Tov.
It's still Shabbat.
Still Shabbat, technically, so Shabbat Shalom. We're so glad you're with us this evening. This custom of the Saturday night before Rosh Hashanah being Slichot is a really interesting one, because in Sephardic traditions, it is done every single midnight, every single night of Elul. They all come together and do prayers and sing piyutim, liturgical poems, and join together in song, and mostly ask for slichot. The word literally slicha means forgive me or pardon me. So we'll be doing a little of that this evening as well. Steve and I are looking forward to spending some time with all of you, and Marla is there if you have technical questions. She's up there in the corner ready to help you out. So we'll join in Havdalah first, and then we will jump into the Slichot service. The first song that we're gonna start with Havdalah.
Havdalah,
Yeah. So let me light this. If you have Havdalah where you are, I invite you to get set up.
Shavua Tov,
Shavua Tov, everybody. We're so glad to be here with you this evening. As we begin with the Slichot portion of our evening, this is one of those times where we recall melodies, where we realize really what kind of year we've had, how our Elul has gone, and what things we might need to still do before next week, what apologies we might need to make, what promises we might need to make to ourselves and to others, the work that we still have to do. So as we go through the service tonight, we'll be singing, this is a newer melody, we'll be singing some melodies you recognize. You should have the Slichot book came in the email, so if you need that, Marla can perhaps send that out to people, and we will join together in song.
I didn't get
First prayer is Shiviti Adonai. It's usually said, it's one of the Psalms, it's usually said around burial and death, but it's about the idea of God being with you always, no matter the circumstances. And this is a melody that Steve and I both love, so I hope you'll join us.
And the melody goes like this.
Notice that in this melody, instead of saying Shiviti Adonai, we're saying the word Havaya, which is one of the ways perhaps that the word Adonai, when spelled out, could have been pronounced. We don't know how the names of God really were pronounced, so Adonai is sort of the best we can get to. Yud He Vav He, Havaya, it's about breath, it's about feeling God in the words before the words come out. And ahava, the other word that you might repeat, is about love. So this is about breath, it's about connection, it's about love. So we'll do that last part again. Havaya and ahava are the words. Havaya, Havaya, Havaya. We are on page 2. Lift up your voice like a shofar, says Isaiah. We rouse ourselves this night, and like a shofar, we cry out. The shofar is not musical to our ears. It is rough and discordant. It is a cry of conscience, speaking in anguished tones, reminding us that this is the season of judgment. Rabbi Pinchas of Koretz asked himself, how is it that a voice can be like a shofar? And then he came to understand that just as a shofar is a hollow tube whose sound is only animated by our breath moving through it, so too are we merely hollow tubes awaiting the breath of the Holy One to animate our souls with life and to fill our lives with purpose. If you are rising at home, I invite you now to rise to hear the sound of the shofar.
Remember, every spot where a person raises his or her eyes to heaven is a holy of holies. Every person, having been created by God, in God's own image and likeness, is a high priest. Every day of a person's life is a day of atonement, a day of at-one-ment. And every word that a person speaks with sincerity is the name of God.
We are on the top of page 3.
Limnot Yemeinu, Limnot Yemeinu, Limnot Yemeinu, Kein Hoda V'Navi Levav Chochma. Limnot Yemeinu, Kein Hoda V'Navi Levav Chochma. Teach us to treasure our days each day. Teach us to treasure each day, that we may open our hearts to your wisdom. Oh, teach us to treasure each day. Limnot Yameinu, Limnot Yameinu, Limnot Yameinu, Kein Hoda V'Navi Levav Chochma. Limnot Yameinu, Kein Hoda V'Navi Levav Chochma.
We will now sing the Shechianu prayer. I bet this is maybe the first time this year that you will hear Avinu Malkeinu. We are marking the season. Shechianu gives us that framework to do that. We'll sing Avinu Malkeinu here in just a minute. But marking this time, delineating what was and what is, and how we have gotten to this moment through adversity, and how much work we still have to do, and what makes us human.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. We will now rise for Avinu Malkeinu.
The idea here is when I asked you to rise to have the intention of standing before God, and now we really have a moment to do that. I'm going to open the ark, but I'm going to come back over here so that the speaker can pick me up. So we will rise together. In a minute here, I'm going to go change the last Torah cover that is not yet white. As I'm thinking about changing the mantles, we think about this time, changing seasons. I thought I would share with you changing the Torah mantles, a symbol of inner change. My precious teaching I have given you, do not forsake it. A tree of life to those who hold it fast. All who embrace it know happiness. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace. Take us back, Adonai. Let us come back to you. Renew us in our time, in the days of old.
Ashivenu, Ashivenu, Adonai Elecha, Take with you
changing the Torahs was not exactly the same without all of you here. Something that I haven't experienced yet, but I'm looking forward to experiencing in the days, in the next year.
And recording needs a certain amount of light. Candlelight wouldn't make it. You'd be looking at a cave.
But, the idea that we get a chance to do this anyway is such a miracle to me. So as we're thinking about slichot, I've been looking at a lot of different prayers and blessings. You can see in the booklet that Psalm 27 is listed right where I'm talking. And in Psalm 27 is a really interesting psalm. It's said every day of Elul. Those of you who learned with me this afternoon, we talked about it a little bit already, about the idea of achat sha'alti me'et Adonai. There's one thing I ask of God, only this do I seek to dwell in God's house. And it's a really good reminder for me that our job here is to set that tone of Elul, to remind ourselves that we are now in the week before we get a chance to really be next to God and near God. Although God is with us always, but this moment is a special one, and Jewish time allows for it to be special. So I thought I would share a piece about personal reflection. And then I thought I would give us a few moments before we do the Al-Chet, right? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, that's afterwards.
Oh yeah, okay. I'll give you a few moments before we say the Al-Chet Shechatanu, or maybe after we say the Al-Chet Shechatanu, to do some personal reflection. And just really think about what it is that this new year is going to bring for you. For personal reflection, be patient towards all that is unresolved in your heart. Try to love the questions themselves. Do not now seek the answers which cannot be given because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps you will then, gradually without noticing it, live along some distant day into the answer. What is the nature of my cheshbon nefesh this year? What should be my focus as I examine my deeds and direction from now until Yom Kippur? What is unresolved in my heart? What questions are on my mind? What is unclear, uncertain, and unsettled in my life? What decisions have I been putting off or avoiding? Is there one change I would like to make in the way I'm living my life and relating to other people? When I look over my accounts, what do I see? Which personal qualities need repair and strengthening? What habits of mind, character, and behavior need correction? What relationships need work? We will continue with Al-Chet Shechatanu Lefanecha. The sin, we are now going into the vidui portion of our service. The vidui, the confession, the idea that we have done wrong, the things that we have to ask slicha for. When you pass somebody on the street in Israel or you bump into them, sometimes Israelis will say, slicha, I'm sorry, my apologies. And so as we ask for slichot, the multiple forgivenesses that we need now, we say these words together because it is better to be in community at this moment. We are on page 6. For the sin we have committed by being a divided community.
And for the sin we have committed by not remembering oppressed Jews all over the world.
For the sin we have committed by not educating our children in Torah.
And for the sin we have committed by not continuing to educate ourselves in Torah.
For the sin we have committed by dropping our children off at services instead of praying with them.
And for the sin we have committed by confining Jewish life to the synagogue.
For the sin we have committed by not growing as Jews.
And for the sin we have committed by not allowing others to grow as Jews.
For all these sins, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement. the sin we have committed by ignoring the poor,
for the sin we have committed through contentment with what we have and who we are,
and for the sin we have committed by conforming,
and for the sin we have committed by keeping silent in the face of evil,
for the sin we have committed by neglecting our parents,
and for the sin we have committed by indulging our children,
for the sin we have committed by using the sins of others to excuse our own.
and for the sin we have committed by denying responsibility for our own misfortunes.
For all these sins, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement.
Ve'al kulam Eloah selicho, selach lanu mechalanu, kapelanu. Ve'al kulam Eloah selicho, selach lanu mechalanu, selach lanu mechalanu, kapelanu.
We will now take some time for our personal reflections. There is a personal al chet shechatanu, a personal and the sin we have committed against you here on page 7, or whatever other things you need to confess. Sometimes in traditional synagogues, you will see people bowing their heads and covering their eyes with their heads on a desk or their heads on the front of a chair. If assuming a different posture is helpful for you, please do that, and we'll come back together in a minute or two.
Ve'al kulam Eloah selicho, selach lanu mechalanu, kapelanu. Ve'al kulam Eloah selicho, selach lanu mechalanu, selach lanu mechalanu, kapelanu.
I think it makes me
I was gonna
sigh
say,
that we're being listened to.
I was
You
just
know?
gonna say
I mean,
that.
it's like,
All of a sudden the lights start flickering the minute we finish our silent confessions. That's
the divine realm uses whatever technology is necessary.
including lights. Ah. We will now turn to page 8 to sing Hear Our Prayers, Shema Kolenu. Although I'm pretty sure we are being heard.
Behave as if you're always being heard.
Shema Koleinu Adonai Eloheinu Usvirachem Aleinu Shema Koleinu Adonai Eloheinu Usvirachem Aleinu V'kabel berachamim u'beratzon et tefilateinu Ki el shomea tefila v'tachadunim Ata Shema Koleinu Adonai Eloheinu Usvirachem Aleinu Shema Koleinu Adonai Eloheinu Usvirachem Aleinu
We are approaching the time in which Hamelech Yoshev, God sits in the throne, on the judgment throne. Right now, God is in the field, coming closer. It's this imagery of the idea of what does it mean to have a melech, a king, a ruler, a sovereign. It's something that we sometimes struggle with, at least I sometimes struggle with, especially the masculine language is sometimes hard for me here. And we don't really have a sense of what it means to have a king in our day. But the idea of approaching something great and having it be everything says something to me. So we're gonna pray together on page 8. O Holy One, let us approach the throne of mercy. May you act with kindness, pardon the sins of your people, remove our sins one by one, grant pardon to careless sinners and forgiveness to willful ones. May your acts of generosity extend to every living being. May you not repay them in accord with their evil. God, be with all who tonight are alone and lonely.
Let them know that they have a friend.
God, hear those who speak without being heard.
Let them know there is one who understands them.
God, heal all those who are in pain, who are weak, who are tired.
Let them know that they will be well and strong in days to come.
God, take all those who are afraid and give them hope.
Take those who have been hurt by word or hand and teach them not to hate.
God, teach us to love one another.
Give us strength to make this world a place of peace and mercy and justice.
God, give us the knowledge that you are with us and in us whenever people work for a better life.
Shomer, Shomer Yisrael, Shemo Sherit Yisrael, Ve'al Yovad Yisrael, Yisrael, Omri Shema
within your gates.
Sweet and holy peace
In the palace of your heart.
Let there be peace within your gates. Sweet and holy peace
In the palace of your heart.
Ay, 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 ay,
Eternal God, what can we say in your presence? We speak of teshuvah and yet are slow to change. But we turn to you this evening with the prayer that your love may abide with us always, turning our hearts to your ways, our feet to your path. Hope is food and drink to us. Hope sustains us. Do not turn us away empty-handed from your presence. End our darkness with your light and turn our passions to your purpose. Help us, eternal God, in this hour of turning to make real our lives, in our lives, the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts.
Ufros aleinu sukkah shelomecha Ufros aleinu
We're going to go back to Shiviti, Havdalah, the idea of breath, the idea of love. My prayer for all of us this next week as we lead up to Rosh Hashanah is that we are able to feel that breath and know that we are loved, that we are able to say the words that we need to say to the people we need to say them to, that we take this time to really examine our lives, to look forward to the new year, to see what we have done well, to see what we need to do better, to be present, to breathe, and to love. Shavua Tov, everybody. Thank you for being here with us this evening. And we will see you next week.